This is an extract from Winston Graham's Poldark, the first book, and it's chapter 16. Charles was inconsiderate enough not to gain his senses in time to satisfy the christening guests. Ross's parting picture of the unusually quiet house was of Aunt Agatha still rocking the baby, and a thin bead of saliva trickling down one of the wrinkles of her chin as she muttered, "'Tis an omen for sure. I wonder what will come of it." It was not, however, of Charles's illness or Geoffrey Charles's future that Ross thought on the way home. At Nampara they had been preparing for the winter by lopping some of the branches of the elm trees for kindling wood. One tree only was condemned, whose roots in the soft ground by the stream were uncertain after the autumn gale. Judd Painter and Jack Cobbledick had a rope tied to one of the higher branches, and were using a two-handled saw on the trunk. When they had worked for a few minutes, they would walk away and tug at the rope to see if the trunk would snap off. The rest of the household had come out in the afternoon twilight to watch. Demelza was dancing about trying to help, and Prudy, her muscular arms crossed like the knotted roots of the tree, was standing by the bridge giving unwelcome advice. She turned and bent her heavy brows at Ross. "I'll take the mare. And how went the christening, Anne? Did he get a nice drop o' bed of ale? And the brat, dear of 'em, like Mr. Francis, "Like enough. What is the matter with Demelza? One of her moods. I says to Judd, that girl, I says, will come to mischief in one of them moods. She's been like that ever since her father left." "Her father? What was his business here?" "Well, more'n half an hour after you'd left he come, by hisself this time, and in his Sunday breeches. 'Want to see my daughter,' he says, quite like an old bear, and she come tripping over herself out the house to meet him." "Well, ye want for to draw at the old tree from the other side," Prudy advised in a voice like a pipe organ. "He won't come down just by playing maypole with un." Judd's reply was happily carried away downwind. Ross walked slowly towards the men, and Demelza came running to meet him, running with an occasional hop, as she did when excited. So absence had made the heart grow fonder, and there was a reconciliation between father and daughter at last. No doubt she would want to return home, and the silly malicious gossip would lose its point. "He won't come down," she said, turning as she reached him and pushing back her mop of hair to gaze at the tree. "He's stronger than we suspicioned." Silly malicious gossip. Wicked, empty, dirty gossip. He could have wrung Polly Choke's neck. He might not have got Elizabeth, but he had not yet sunk so low as to seduce his kitchen maid, Demelza of all wenches, whose dirty, skinny little body he had deluged with cold water when she came not so many months ago, it seemed. She had grown since then. He supposed that the gossips of the countryside could not conceive of the son of Joshua living a celibate life. Some women had minds like addle gutters. If there was no stench, they had to create one. Demelza shifted and glanced at him uneasily, as if aware of his scrutiny. She reminded him of a restive foal with her long legs and her wayward eye. When she was in one of her moods, as Prudy called them, there was no foreseeing what she would do next. "Your father has been here," he said. Her face lit up. "Yes, and I've made un up with un. I'm some happy about that. Her look changed as she tried to read his expression. Did I do wrong? Of course not. When does he wish you to return? If he'd wanted that, I couldn't have made an up, could I? She laughed with pleasure, an infectious bubbling laugh. He don't want for me to go back, for he's wed again. He was married again last Monday, so now he's ready to be friendly, and I don't have to feel every night, what's Brother Luke doing, and do Brother Jack miss me? Widow Chegwidden will look after him better than ever I could. Widow Chegwidden is a Methody, and she'll look after they all right. Oh, said Ross, so he was not to be rid of his charge after all. I believe she thinks to reform, father. She believes she can make him teetotal. That's where she'll be mistook, I reckon. The two men, having soared for a few minutes, solemnly walked away to the end of the rope and began to pull. Ross joined them and added his weight. A perverse spirit within him was glad that he was not to have the easy way of meeting the scurrilous gossip. Let them talk till their tongues dropped out. But surely Elizabeth wouldn't believe such a story. He gave an extra hard tug on the rope, and it snapped where it had been knotted to the branch of the tree. He sat down with the other two men. Garrick, who had been out on a private rabbit hunt and missing the fun, came rushing down the valley and gambolled about the three men, licking Judd's face as Judd got to his knees. "Dang the blathering whelp," said Judd, spitting. "It's poor stuff you rely on," said Ross. "Where did you find it?" "In the library." "'Twas soggy at one end," said Demelza. "The rest is sound." She picked up the rope and began to climb the tree like a playful cat. "Come back," Ross said. "She putn't up there the first time," said Judd, aiming a kick at Garrick. "She had no business to. But now—" Ross went nearer. "Demelza, come down!" She heard him this time and stopped to peer through the branches. "What's to do? I'm all but there." "Then tie it at once and come down." "I'll loop over at the next branch." She put up her foot and climbed a few feet higher. "Come down!" There was an ominous crack. "Look for yourself!" shouted Judd. Demelza paused and looked down, more than ever like a cat now, which had found its foothold insecure. She gave a squeak as the tree began to go. Ross jumped out of the way. The tree fell with a drawn-out noise exactly like the tipping of a load of slates. 1 second it was all noise, and the next there was complete silence. He ran forward, but could not get very near because of the far-flung branches. Right in the middle, Demelza suddenly appeared, climbing with pawing movements among the branches. Prudy came flapping across the stable, shouting, "My ivers! My ivers!" Jack Cobbledick reached the girl first from his side, but they had to cut away some of the smaller branches before they could get her clothing free. She crawled out, laughing. Her hands were scraped and her knees bleeding. The calf of one leg was interlaced with scratches, but otherwise she had come to no harm. Ross glowered at her. "You'll do as I tell you in future. I want no broken bones here." Her laughter faded before his glance. "No." She licked the blood off one palm, then glanced down at her frock. "Dear life, I've breaked me dress." She screwed her neck round at an impossible angle to see the back. "Take the child and give her something for those cuts," Ross said to Prudy. "She's beyond me now." That was an extract from Winston Graham's Ross Poldark. It was chapter 16, and it was one of my favourite chapters when I was a little girl of, a teenager of 13, 14. I used to lay under the bed covers with a torch and read that in deep winter days, on deep winter evenings. and I used to be cold in bed, but that used to bring a warmth to my heart. Thank you for listening.